Hello, my name is Kirsty. Welcome to Kirsty Knits and Sews. This is my YouTube channel where I share about all the things that I've been making, and today I have a lot to share with you. I've got spinning, knitting, crochet, cross stitch and sewing. It has been quite a while since I recorded last. It's been over a month, so I have a lot to share with you. Although I was reflecting this morning, I have a lot more finishes than normal. I'm not sure I have a huge amount more projects overall, but I have finished quite a few things because I've been working on them consistently throughout the last month. It is summer here in Tarnów in Poland where I live. We've just come through a heat wave. Oh my goodness, I stopped drinking tea. I stopped drinking hot coffee. I had my first hot coffee this morning again in over a week. So that was lovely. And I do have some hot tea again here. So we're back to normal. This is my, you can never have a book long enough or a cup of tea large enough to suit me. I said that around the wrong way. But yes, a C.S. Lewis quote here. Red Tractor Designs mug, who I believe is an Australian designer. And thus there's a little Maggie here. Love me magpies. I miss my magpies. I am Australian. I do live in Poland. Which means, I will say, I am used to heat. But we don't have aircon here, and most of the places in Poland don't have aircon. There are places that do, but I've been busy all week doing a kids program in a place that didn't have aircon. We were monitoring temperatures, we were making sure that we're doing things to help the kids stay cool as we could. But yes, having a heat wave, it was about 38, 40 degrees. To have that kind of heat and not have air conditioning that you can just go sit in, it does put a lot of strain on your body. So anyway, that was earlier this week. It is cool. I've got a lovely breeze coming through here now, and I'm even wearing a knit. This is my Salty Air Tee by Samantha Guerin. I knit it in Dunn's merino silk. I can't remember what the actual name of the base is, but it's a merino 50-50 silk merino base. And the colour is Into the Woods, I believe. Actually, maybe not. No, it's not. I'm using Into the Woods for a different one. This one was not Into the Woods. Anyway, I can't remember. I will be linking project pages for everything that I talk about down below. That is knitting or crocheting. I don't have project pages for sewing, spinning, or cross stitch. But shops I talk about, anything like that, I will link down below in case you are interested in following something up. But yes, Salty Air Tee by Samantha Guerin. And if I can do this without banging, yes, it is cropped like my belly button is here, so it's even sitting slightly above my belly button. And I wear it over dresses. This is a skirt that I picked up from an op shop. Love it. But yes, it is a great length, and I often will wear it over a dress and just have the skirt coming down, but I did realize that this skirt works really well with it, and I have worn it a few times like this. I love it. All right, so I just realized that I did not pull winners for the tea knit along. And I wanted to do this with minimal editing, but I think I'm going to have to pause now, pull winners, and then come back, because we have just finished our tea knit along, and that is how long it's been since I've recorded, in that I did not show you progress of my teas for quite a while. It has been really fun hosting a tea knit along. This is something that I did last year as well. Actually, I knit this one in last year's tea knit along. And I have made some more progress. I haven't finished any more teas. It finished on June 30th. I did have a look last night and respond to the last comments that I had missed. There were quite a few last minute finishes that were uploaded. Not that they were finished last minute necessarily, but that they were uploaded last minute. And yes, it was really fun to do it and to watch everyone join in, jump in with teas that were either whips or new cast-ons. I am planning to do it again next year, so if you haven't participated this year, don't worry. Keep an eye out for next year. And yeah, I didn't draw them. So I'm going to pause now. I'm going to draw the winners, and then I'll come back and tell you who they are. Okay, I'm back and I have now drawn winners. So let me tell you straight up front right now who the winners are. The first winner from the discussion thread is post number 129, and it is Amy Has Time. So congratulations, Amy. And from the finished object thread, there were 20 finishes, 19 finishes in the end, not including my one. And so the winner from the finished object thread is Sharon McAfee. I believe that's how you say these names. I will put them on screen, and I will, I will put them on screen. Please contact me on Ravelry, let me know, say, hey, I'm the winner, and we're doing pattern prizes this year. So let me know which pattern you would like from Ravelry that I can send to you as a prize, up to $10 US. I don't know why I'm doing US dollars since I'm Australian and I live in Poland, but it's nice to have a currency that most people in the world are familiar with. So we'll just do $10 US for a pattern prize. Let me know what you'd like and I will send that to you. Congratulations. And thank you so much for everyone joining in. I really had an absolute blast watching the progress on all of the different things on the discussion thread. There were quite a lot of discussion going on in the discussion thread. It was really enjoyable. So thank you so much. Now, the next thing is that because I didn't record in a month, I have stats for 2 months to share with you. So I recorded a stats update, and then I was like, right, I'm gonna get serious about my stats and get serious about using some yarn. Now, if you've been here a while, you know I don't really mind having a big stash, but I don't want to just continue to bring a huge amount in if I'm not using it. However, I've recently moved into a new apartment. We have a lot less storage room. I go into it a lot more on the stash stats and plans update episode. But I am pleased to say that in May, I did finish a couple of big things. So I only brought in 2 skeins in May. I think one of them may have been hand spun. Let me just double check that. No, it wasn't hand spun. So I did bring in 2 skeins in May. I used 4 skeins out. So what I do is I count full skeins in and full skeins, and skeins out. When it stops being a full skein in my mind, which is less than 50 grams, I count that as out of my stash and it goes into scraps. So full skeins in, full skeins out, which means that I started May with 592 skeins and I finished with 590. Not a huge amount of progress, but it is progress in the right direction. I finished 5 objects in May. I finished the month with 28 whips, not including blankets, and I used 1,122 grams. That felt great. I finished my V-back tee, which I'm not wearing right now, but that was part of the knit along. I finished my scrappy crochet puff, which was 844 grams. And so that was a lot of the yarn that was there. And the reason that was only 4 skeins out is I don't count my acrylic stash in my skein total. I went into this a lot a while ago, but basically my reasoning for that is my acrylic stash I basically use for scrappy projects and blankets. So even if I have full skeins, I don't think of it in the same way as I think about my other stash. I'm not using it to make a jumper. It just kind of is one conglomerate of scraps. This has kind of worked in my favor this month because I have bought quite a few skeins balls of acrylic yarn for a project that I will be making. And so I've been debating whether or not to start counting them as skeins, but I just don't know how to do that because so many of them are actually scraps and they're all kept together. And so I think it's just going to stay as not being counted in skeins. And when I finish these projects, it just means that I don't get to count skeins out either, which is a little bit sad, but that's all right. My other option is that I could go through, count all the ball bands that I have, like all the balls that I have ball bands for, and then count that as skeins. And then when I finish a project, count the bands at the end of the project and hope that it adds up. But I'm just terrible at keeping them. So I think I'm just going to leave it where it is for the moment and not do that. I will show you the project that I'm thinking of. It's sitting right here. I've been working on it a lot. But yes, I have bought quite a few balls of acrylic yarn this month. However, it doesn't count because it's acrylic, because it's a specific type of acrylic. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, 1,122 grams out in May. That felt really good. That was almost, in 1 month, the same amount of yarn out of my stash as in the previous 4 months combined. I think it was 1,300 and change. So 1,122 felt really, really good. Then we get on to June. June stats, I had 8 skeins come in, none of them hand spun. I went shopping. I went shopping in Krakow with my mother-in-law, my husband, my kids were there, my father-in-law was there too. We stopped in at a yarn shop, and it's one that I've been to before, and I particularly wanted to go because I knew that they had some yarn on sale. And this is the yarn that they had on sale. I have a feeling if I'd bought it online, they would have had more of the ranges on sale than what I was able to buy in store. But I don't want to do online yarn shopping because that is a rabbit hole. And I so rarely get to go to a shop that has yarn. So I say that, but it's been more and more regular. I had to go to a conference. My goodness, it's been a while. Had to go to a conference in Rome, and I did search out a yarn shop there, and I didn't buy any yarn. There was nothing there that I was like, this would be a nice memento. The only one that I was tempted by was actually called like Australian something, and it was Australian merino yarn. I'm like, I'm not buying Australian merino yarn in Rome. Not happening. Anyway, all that to say, I went to Rome, I went to a yarn shop, I didn't buy yarn. I went to Krakow, and I did. And I'm not going to show you it all, but this is the one that I knew would be on sale. It's Lang Yarn Super Socks, and this is the mixed tape socks, and this particular one is the workout mix. So I just thought that would be fun. I also got, I think, the party mix for this, and another Lang Yarn one that wasn't part of the workout mixtape or the mixtape socks. But yes, they were 40% off, I think, and I love Lang Super Socks for socks. I use it to make socks for lots of people, and so I thought that would be great to have some. Like, it worked out at 10 Australian dollars for 100 grams, which was quite good for a pair of socks. While I was there, I noticed these ones, which is Yarn Art Forza, and this is also a 75/25, and this one is color 2506, but I've never tried Yarn Art Forza. In fact, I'm not even sure I knew about it, but not on sale. This was the same price as this on sale. So I got 2 balls of this, yes, 2 balls, not one, because I was like, why not try it? If this one, I like it as much as this one, it's good to know. And then maybe I can keep using that in the future. Because, yeah, such a great price for sock yarn. And then, because I was there and they had it, and it was not on sale, but I just could not resist, I got some Trekking XXL. Now, I knit a lot of socks. I would knit a lot of socks for gifts. And I have been trying different types of sock yarn, commercial sock yarn, so that I can find the ones that I really like. And I've but maybe a couple of months ago, I finished a pair of Trekking XXL socks. And every time I knit them, I'm like, I like this yarn. So when I saw this, and it's just such autumnal colors, looks like it's going to be a bit of a gradient, I thought, yes. And so I bought this for me to knit my soft socks. I am very excited to knit some autumnal socks for myself. I'm not sure what pattern I'll do. I'm not sure if I'll do a pattern, but yes, excited for that. And I did get another couple of pairs of balls of Trekking XXL as well. I got a Christmas one, and I got a rainbow one because my children love rainbows, so I can knit them socks out of the rainbow ones. And I am knitting Christmas socks for a lot of people, so my Christmas sock yarn stash is getting low. My theory with buying these, other than they were on sale for a great price, is I know exactly where they're going in my stash. And so I brought them home and I put them straight away, And I did have to put them not in my commercially dyed sock yarn cube, but they still fit into the cubes, and that's where they'll stay until I knit them. Part of my not buying yarn is so that what I have will then fit in the spaces that I have. And so I did have this kind of addendum of, if I know where it's going and I know that I can put it away without, not just adding a bag to this stuff that needs to go away, but actually put it away, then that makes it a bit better. So I got them, and that was 8 skeins. I thought it was 7, and I wrote down 7, and then I went back and was putting in something else, and I went, oh, no, that was 8. So that was a little bit sad because I did have 7 skeins out in May. So I ended up with 591 skeins, one more than I had the previous month. I finished 4 things, 1 vest and 3 pairs of socks. And it was for a total of 646 grams out of my stash. So still pretty good. Still, aside from May, it was, I think, my second highest amount in the year for 1 month. So we're still making progress. We're on the right track, even if I got 1 extra skein in. Although I will also show you, these are the acrylic ones that I was talking about. I got some DMC Knitty 4, which is an 8-ply or an 8 DK weight yard. This is shade 824. This is for a blanket for my niece. And I also got this, which is also for a blanket for my niece. So this was on sale at my local haberdashery shop. I went in to just see what they had. They have great things. I love it. But this was on sale. And so I bought what I needed for the blanket. And then I was at another shop and I found this, which is Pepco Hobby. And it was for 2 zloty a ball. Zloty. A zloty is about, let me think, American dollars. A zloty is about a quarter, 25 US cents. And so yeah, 2 zloty a ball, we're talking 50 US cents, maybe 60, 70 Australian cents for a ball of acrylic yarn. And so this is one of the colors I need for my niece's blanket. So I got enough of this to do her blanket. And I did get, they had some like pale, almost like a washed out minty blue, dusty blue that I don't need for my niece's blanket, but I am making a lot of these blankets at the moment. So I got some of that anyway because it was just so cheap and it works with what I'm doing. So that is my stats. And wow, we've just done stats. Oh man, guys, so much has been going on. So that's my stats for May and June. We're now in July. I have my, in my knitting journal July page all set out. I haven't finished anything yet in July. It is the 4th today. Yes, it is the 4th. It's the first day of Tour de Fleece. Yay! If you're doing Tour de Fleece, yay, enjoy it. I did start spinning this morning and that's some of what I have to show you. All right, so in terms of finishes, I have how many finishes to share with you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I have 7 finished objects to share with you. The first one that I'm going to show you, or the first 2 I'm going to show you, are quillos. So these I spoke about on my cast off, cast on vlog. If you haven't seen that, don't worry about it. I will tell you about them here. But basically, a quillo is a quilt that has a pocket on the back and you can fold it into a pillow or a cushion. And I got one, my sister got one, my brother got one when we were kids. I still have mine. And I made them for all of my nieces and nephews. And my children were the last ones to get them. They've really wanted them. They've been using my one. And so for Dzieci, which is the 1st of June, I finished, Dzieci is Children's Day here in Poland. I finished a quillo for each of them. I stayed up late the night before, but I did it. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I don't have any patterns for these. In terms of the tops, I bought them from an op shop in Australia. I think they were $10 a piece for all of the piecing done for the top of these. in terms of turning them into quillos, here's the second one. I just do a pouch. Like I just do a, how do I explain this? I'll show you. I just do an enclosed piece of fabric. Here we go. Actually, it'll be easier to show you on this one because it's a different color. So here is the pouch. I just do a piece of fabric with a piece of batting and another piece of fabric on the outside, and I just sew that around and turn inside out so that I have a raw edge here and then just an enclosed piece. I just did a big X for quilting on it because we needed something quick, and then I lay it on the edge of the quilt sandwich. Now, I don't quilt these traditionally. I do it where I lay them on top of each other. I sew around the outside and then I flip it inside itself. And so there's no binding on this. It's just once I flipped it in the right way, I just sew around the edge. And in doing so, that encloses the raw edge here. I then, before I do that, I sew this onto the backing and the batting together so that these two lines are sewed down, but leaving the top open. And then that means that I can fold up the quilt and then stuff it in here to make it into a pillow. So that is a very rough idea. I don't have a pattern for it. I don't know if there are tutorials for it. I've just figured this out over time based on what I've done for other people. My plan is always to not have this seam show on the front. And I didn't do that because I always sew it on to the backing and the batting in the middle first before I put it into one big piece. However, I also want it to all be quilted because the batting can get bunchy and gross if you don't have it quilted. And so what I've done here is I just did very basic quilting. I don't quilt this as heavily as I do normal quilts. I just do very basic quilting down here, and I did for these continue that down, which was a bit fiddly because it meant that I was then sewing inside here after this was already attached. So it was quite fiddly for that part, and I did sew across for the rest of it as well, but I didn't do that for this little part in here. Just here, I missed. So anyway, that's what I've done here. I don't know, I can't tell you anything about the fabrics for the front of them. I can't even show you the full quillo. Look at this. Like I said, $10 quilt top from an op shop that I was able to just put together. The backing for my son's one, I used some space fabric that I got in like a cotton bundle thing. I think it was like 20s water or something for 5 meters of material maybe. So it was just an ends remnant sale. This green one here, I'm pretty sure I got 4 meters for $20 from Patchwork with ALB, which is where I used to work in Australia, and they have sales occasionally where they sell backing fabric really cheap. So I think that was one of them. And I can tell you that this fun stripe one was one of the Dr. Seuss range that we had in store that I paid full price for. Well, employee discount full price, because I just loved it so much and I thought I would use it for a binding. But my son loves bright colours and rainbows, and I thought, what a great way, excuse me, what a great way to tie that together. So that's my son's one. Both my kids love them. My daughter's one, again, just a, I don't know who put these together, but my kids absolutely love all the different fabrics and colours in them. So yes, really grateful to whoever it was for the work that they put in to the tops here. The back for my daughter is another 4 meters for $20 that I got from Patchwork with ALB. I don't know how often they do sales anymore. I haven't been around for a long time, but they used to do them once a year, maybe twice a year. And so yeah, I bought this in the hope that I would have a girl, and I did. And so it was very lovely to use it. It's got like frog prints type things on it. And then for her cushion, I used some unicorn fabric that I believe my sister gave me, and that it came from Spotlight Australia. It's possible that I bought it, but I believe my sister gave it to me or wrapped a present in it or something. So that's what her cushion cover is. Actually, my son's cushion cover, which I showed you but didn't tell you what it was, is Finding Neverland. Where to go? I can't tell you who designed it anymore, but the fabric line was Finding Neverland. And I believe I got this one from Claire's Fabrics, which used to be in Melbourne, moved to South Australia, and I believe is now shut, which is very sad, but I believe I got that from Claire's Fabrics. So that is my sewing. I did have a lot of fun doing those, even though it meant, ooh, I just banged into my clothes dryer. Even though it was a lot of work late at night to get them done on time, it was a lot of fun. All right, sorry, I had another quick interruption there. So yes, I was knitting on the sleeves. I thought this is probably going to be too long. They were quite wide. I didn't gauge swatch because I do not gauge swatch. And so I thought I might have to rip back and do some faster decreases or figure out what to do here. I got home and I got my husband to try it on. Until this point, he did not know it was for him. I was trying to get it finished for his birthday, which was on June 2nd. Yeah, he didn't know it was for him. And I said, can you try it on? And so we tried it on and he didn't look super impressed. And he said, well, who's this for? And I was like, well, it's actually for you. So I do want you to like it. And he is not a very tweedy person. I love tweed. I love the idea of tweed. But yeah, my husband doesn't wear tweed as much. Although I'm trying to get him into it. And so when he tried it on, my first thought was, I think it would look great as a vest. He was wearing a blue long sleeve shirt already, and so it worked really well. The side that didn't have a sleeve, I thought that looks really nice. The side that did have a sleeve just looked a little bit frumpy. It was clearly too big, needed some tailoring or something to make it work. I didn't say that. I asked him what he thought, and he looked at me and said, could you make it a vest? And I thought, yes, I can. And so I ripped out the sleeve that I had almost finished. And I then picked up the stitches again and just did, half an inch of ribbing on each sleeve to turn it into a vest. And I called it done. And it was such a quick finish from that point. Did I spend an entire day knitting on it when I didn't need to? Yes. Did it matter in the end? No. So I got it done quicker than I expected. It is still a little bit big for him, and so we're going to see how he goes, because he's wearing it at the moment over just a long sleeve shirt, but in winter he would have other layers underneath as well. And so I think it'll work. He thinks it'll work. If I need to, then I might go back and rip out the ribbing again and just do like a decrease round before I do the ribbing, so that the ribbing is a little bit shorter. But yes, it works, it fits him. I have enough of this yarn in a different dye lock to do a full jumper, but I think it means that I have still 300 or 400 grams in this dye lot as well. So I could definitely do a matching vest or a jumper for my son out of this yarn. I would love to have a jumper out of this yarn, and then maybe I'll do one for my daughter as well, because kids don't take a huge amount of yarn to make jumpers. The yarn itself is Montana, 4 seasons. I got it from Spotlight on a super sale. It is colored denim, lot 22, colour 80431673. I got it on a super sale 2 years ago. I'm going to say it was clearance, so I don't know if they still have it. 90% wool, 7% acrylic, 3% viscose. So yeah, it feels nice. It's pretty soft. I don't think it would be itchy, and it's got such little acrylic amount in it that I don't think it would hold smell and stuff the way that acrylic usually does. At least I'm hoping not. My husband doesn't smell anyway, so it's not a problem for his, but for me, I am aware of that. So that is a finish, and that is a finish from the 3rd of January 2025. That is my 5th oldest whip. That's not a blanket. So yeah, that felt really, really good to get that off the needles. Because I didn't use sleeves, it did only use 4 skeins. And that was a little bit sad because I was like, yay, look, I'm going to finish a jumper and get all these skeins out. And it only used, 4 and a bit, 428 grams. But that counts as 4, and the extra bit I've put with the stash still to go into the next jumpers that I make. Still, 4 skeins on the 1st of June, 400 grams, it felt good. So that one can go back to my husband. The next thing that I finished, I started and finished since Summer Sock Camp started actually. So I started this one on the 27th of May, which was cast on day for Summer Sock Camp. And I cast it on using yarn from my Summer Sock Camp basket that I had caked up and just not used. So these are Follow Your Path socks. That means I don't think you've seen this as a whip at all because it's been so long since I've recorded. So this is hand dyed by me, and this is highlighter yellow Cascade Heritage sock yarn. Follow Your Path sock is a Crazy Sock Lady pattern. I did these on DPNs using Magic Loop for the toe, and I did them, I'm pretty sure. I always do Follow Your Path on DPNs. I don't know why, but the first time I did it, I used DPNs, and I always go back to DPNs for this pattern. I did these, did I start them on the plane or not? No, I started them before I went to Rome, and I had them ready to knit on the plane, and then I last minute decided I didn't want to take both the pairs of socks I was going to take on the plane with DPNs, and I suddenly had this moment of, that's 10 sharp metal objects that I'm trying to get through security. And what if they, for the first time in my life, have a problem with needles? So I put those in my checked luggage, and I pulled out a pair that I had on circular needles. It was fine. I had no problem going through security either way. But yes, I worked on these in Rome a little bit in the mornings and the evenings, and then I finished them when I got back here. Rome is where I was for the conference. Yeah, so this was really, really fun to do. I did shorties because I need some more summer shorty socks. And I had thought that maybe I could use them in Rome if I finished them on time, but I didn't. So I haven't actually worn these yet, but I think they're really fun. My only regret is that I didn't do a pop of color on the cuff as well. Actually, that's not my only regret. I have 2 regrets from these. One is I didn't use a pop of color, and 2 is that it didn't have any skeins out, because altogether this used 50 grams, which means I didn't use 50 grams of the main color, which means it's not less than 50 grams skein, and it's staying in my stash rather than moving to scraps. That is quite sad. And this one, I've only used it for heels, toes, and cuffs, and so I still have like 70 grams of that as well. So because with sock yarn I can get a full pair of socks, shorty socks yes, but a full pair of socks out of 50 grams, I don't count it as scraps until it's less than 50 grams. Sigh. So I was finishing this thinking maybe I could get another skein out of my stash by finishing these, and I didn't, and that's why I ended up on 27 and not, sorry, on 7 skeins out and not 8 skeins out, which was +1 for the month. because I was working on socks that didn't count. But as we've discussed already, I want to knit on what I want to knit on. I don't want the stats to be the thing that makes me decide what I knit on or what I work on. So it hasn't been really. Still, another pair of socks, 50 grams exactly, started on the 27th of May and finished on the 20th of June. I love the Follow Your Path socks pattern. Oh, I did do this wrong. So it's not entirely the Follow Your Path socks pattern. Follow Your Path, I don't even know if you're going to be able to tell the difference, but this one here, this little cable, is what Follow Your Path looks like. I was doing the twist differently because I'd been doing a twist on another. I cannot for the life of me remember what pattern I was doing a twist on, but I was doing a left twist and right twist on a pattern, and I was doing it in whatever way the pattern had said. And so when I picked up these socks, I went, I know how to do the left twist, and I didn't look up how Kaye does the left twist. And so I just automatically started doing it the way that I had for a different pattern. Then at one point, I hadn't worked on it for a little bit, and I picked it up and I went to automatically do this because I've knit Follow Your Path socks so many times that the muscle memory is there. And so I picked it up and thought, Follow Your Path, twist, row, did it, and was like, that's not what I've been doing. And so I did one row complete the way that I remembered suddenly that it was in the pattern. And then I was like, no, that definitely is different. And so then I went back to what I'd been doing for the rest of the sock. The way that Kaye does it in the pattern is definitely, it's like one step less. So it's quicker, it's a little bit easier. It means that you have like a slip stitch rather than knitting every row. And so I think it makes the cable, although it's not actually a cable, but it makes the cable look more cable-y. But because I'd done it the rest of the way, I wanted to have the continuity. And so for the rest of the sock and for the second sock, I did the way that I had been doing, which is not technically the pattern. So that is, no one is ever going to notice that that one row is different. Even knowing that it's there, I have to stop and look and be like, is that the right row that I'm thinking of? Yeah. So anyway, that is Follow Your Path socks. I really enjoy them. I'm looking forward to wearing them. Size medium, 64 stitches, DPNs. I've done a lot of DPN knitting actually recently, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm wondering if DPNs is my new go-to. But I've also started doing some more magic loop, so we'll see. I think that's everything for that one. The next pair of socks actually finished just before, here. This is what the yarn looks like, not knit up. So this was just, I was dyeing other things and I used this as like a mop skein. So whatever I was dyeing for other things, I just wiped my gloves on this and I then steamed it, and I absolutely love it. But I can't replicate it. No hope. I don't sell yarn, I just dye yarn for fun. And then this is, yeah, the Cascade Highlighter Yellow. I do have a tag in here. Cascade Heritage, 7525, color 5774. So yeah, they're both going back in my stash. The next pair that I finished, I absolutely love. These ones are finished, they are blocked, they are too long for the sock blockers because this person, or the person therefore, has big feet. But that's okay, I'm still going to put them on so you can see. These are I've been calling them acorn socks. These are a pattern by Charlotte Stone of Stone Knits. It is one of her independently published patterns, not in one of the pattern books, and I bought it a while ago and finally decided I needed to knit some of my sock patterns that I already own rather than constantly looking for new ones. This was so much fun to knit. Because I just did colour work, there is also a colour work bit on the foot, but I didn't do that. I just did it on the leg, and so I knew that once I had done the leg, I was basically into free knitting and could do the foot as I normally do. It was so much fun. This yarn here is Hobby, and this is what I said before, is I'm not a huge fan of Hobby yarn, but I find the silly socks I don't find as annoying as the Christmas yarn. So I'm not sure if it's just made by someone different or what the deal is. I just realized this isn't from this sock. This is the mini from the Christmas socks. So I'm going to put that down there. Here we go. Hobby silly sock, 75.25, and this is color 10. I don't know what name it is, but yes, it's a self-striping, self-patterning, self-striping yarn, and so it was really easy to just knit. And I did also use this color for the leaves, and so you can see some patterning in the leaves. This one down here, there is some white or I think the light green I kept in. There are some almost white bits that are not white, but are very close to white. And so I kept them in for the first sock. For the second sock, I ripped that part out so that the leaves stood out a little bit more. It wasn't a huge amount that I ripped out. Do I have it in here even? I don't. But yeah, it was a tiny bit. This is a hand-dyed one that was from an Advent swap that I did. I'm pretty sure it's a color I dyed, but I couldn't be certain, that I used for the squirrels. I used, it was already a scrap, but it's Performance Cool Wool for the white color. I'm not a huge fan of Performance Cool Wool yarn. I bought a whole bunch to make colorwork socks, and I probably won't buy it again. But that is the main background color there. And I used Fable for the Fable color 101 for the heel and the cuff and the toe. I did make some changes for this sock. I did my normal cuff length, which is 14 rows of 2x2 rib. I did the color work as it said, and then I changed to this color and I knit 2 rows, and then I did the normal heel and foot and toe as I would for any other sock that I do. So I didn't read the pattern for the heel. I didn't even look at what it said for the foot and the toe. I just followed the pattern for the heel, for the leg, and then I went into my default. I did that partly because I know that my default sock works for the people that I'm making it for, and partly because I knew that I would get them done quicker, because if I'm not reading the pattern for how to do a new heel or how to do a new toe, I can just put it into my easy knitting, and that is what I did. So I did get these done by the deadline that I was wanting to get them done by, but the deadline that I needed to get them done by has now moved. So I still have them to show you, and I will send them off to the person that they're for in time for the new deadline. I really, really love these socks, and I have blocked them already. All of the ends are tied in like they are done, which feels really good. Oh man, I love the squirrels. I love the squirrels. All right, they go there. I'll put all of those down there. That, I'm pretty sure I counted this as a skein out. I think this is less than 50 grams now because I have used it somewhere else as well, I believe. I'm pretty sure I have. Anyway, this is less than 50 grams. So that did count as, maybe it didn't. Oh, now I'm second guessing myself. Maybe it counted as 2 skeins out. The heels, toes and cuffs was 1 skein. I need to double check whether I've taken that out of my stash or not. It's a little cut, maybe. In fact, I'm just going to check that now. I have in the back of my book here, I have a list of all of my yarn that I own. And yes, okay, I did count that as a skein out. So that is now scraps and I can get rid of the ball band. Yeah, so I have a list of all my things, and when I finish it, I highlight it so that I know it's no longer in my stash, and that's just how I keep track of it. And that's also now scrap yarn, so I will go deal with that accordingly. So helpful to know. All right, I have one more finished pair of socks, which is also very exciting, because this one, I was planning to record this last weekend and I didn't get it done, but it meant that I got one more whip finished before I recorded. So these ones are another Charlotte Stone pattern. I'm just putting them on my sock blockers here. And this one I did, oh, right, I was like, that didn't fit. I'm trying to put it on the leg instead of on the foot. That's better. These ones are not blocked and look a little bit funny because of what I did, but let me explain. So these are I'm calling them fox socks. I think it's Fox's Day Out is the pattern. And it is these really cute little pine trees and foxes. I started these, actually these ones and the acorn ones I just showed you are both part of 12 cast-ons for day 10 when I started 5 pairs of socks out of 15 that I'm knitting for the 12 cast-ons. Both of these were started on that first day. So I did this kind of the same in that I followed the pattern for the leg. I did my normal cuff. I did, once I finished the colorwork section, I then swapped to doing my normal knitting for the rest of the foot. However, because it's colorwork, and for this person, I was like, I think a little bit more width on the leg would be useful. I started the size large, and you can see that that is quite a bit of positive ease. And so I'm be interested once I block it to see how that works out. But it meant that once I finished, the idea of the pattern is that you increase at the beginning, but the whole pattern has colorwork on the foot. And because I did the same thing, I swapped it out for a self-patterning yarn. This one is Opal. Do I still have the tag here for you? I have the yarn here. Oh yes, I do. I swapped it out for self-patterning Opal yarn, which is the Beauty one color 11304. Yeah, because I swapped it out for this yarn, I knew that I wasn't going to do the pattern that it called for all over the foot, and so I knew I didn't need as many stitches, and so I decreased to what the pattern had for the base stitch amount, and I knit the rest of the leg like that. And then when I got to the heel, I realized that it's still a size bigger than I would normally do for this person. So I then decreased again right before the heel, did the heel and the foot the same way I would normally do for this person, and so it will just be a bit of a looser leg, I think. I'll see how they like it. Maybe I've done this before where I've knit a size up for the leg and then gone down for the foot, because some of us just have larger calves than others. I am in that category and I have played with this for myself. And so, yeah, that's what I've done here. Like I said, these aren't blocked, but let me show you the yarn. This is all I have left of that main color. I definitely felt the yarn chicken and I was so excited to get that done. I had a moment of if I need to do change before, which way? Let's show you that way. If I had to change before, I had my tuberose in there, then I could have changed a little bit earlier. But yes, that felt really good. And this is again hand dyed from an Advent. I've been doing an Advent swap for quite a few years now, so a lot of my scraps are Advent scraps. The other thing that I found funny about this was I did this sock first, did the whole thing, not a problem. When I came back to this sock, I again knit the foot on DPNs, and I realized that I had set it up ready for the heel, which meant that I had all of the stitches on the back on one needle and all of the stitches on the front on two needles. But what I used to do when I started a sock was have all the stitches for the front on one needle and the back on two needles, and then when I got to the heel row, I would swap that around. And because it was like I picked it up so close to the heel, I just automatically set it up for the heel. But I didn't realize that. So when I got to my decrease round here, I started decreasing on the back, and then I finished decreasing on the front, and I still had to knit across the back to finish the round. And so it meant that I ended up knitting one row extra than I needed to make the match. At this point, I could have ripped out 2 rows, done the decrease round where it was meant to be, and started the heel at the right place. But I thought, you know what, 1 round for a leg, no one's going to notice, it's not going to make a big difference, I'm just going to keep going. What I then realized was it actually made a huge difference, but in the best way, because these socks now match. Like almost row for row, they now match. You can see the toe on this side, it looks less, but if I flip that around, maybe it's like 1 row out, whatever it is, yeah, I'm like, I don't even know, because the gusset is right, so maybe my tension was changed. The gusset is the same, everything is the same, but yeah, it made it match so beautifully across the 2 socks. And so I thought, well, I made a mistake, but that's okay, and it worked out well, because without even planning to, these socks are like a twins, or as close to twins as you can get. I was very, very excited with that. Right now, I don't remember if this is out of my stash or not, so I'm going to leave this here and deal with it later. But I started size large, I finished size medium for these socks. I didn't do any of the color work on the leg, and I think I'm going to do this a little bit more actually, is when I have colorwork socks that I love, unless it's all over colorwork, like one pattern needs to go down, I'm more and more leaning towards colorwork for the leg, and then just doing an easy foot, because then I get all of the cute patterns, but yeah, can use lots of my fun yarn. These are all ends tied in, but not blocked. So I will go block these, and then it will be done. For these and the squirrel socks, I did a mix of ladderback jacquard and traditional carrying floats. And I did do the color work portion on 9-inch circular and inside out. That's how I get tension for floats, so that there's no problems for socks. I think that was a tick from Charlotte Stone, actually. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is that pair done. I love them, and I will block them. I think that is it. Let me double check. I think that is it for finishes. Amazing. All right. That is it for finishes. I told you, it's a lot of things that I have done. I will just throw this in as a finish here, and I cannot remember if I've showed you this before or not, but this is a skein of handspun that I finished. It is Australian Merino from Expressia Art. It's 2-ply worsted spun. I have not washed this yet. It is 147 meters unwashed, 50 grams. So I will be washing that, and I probably won't show you again. I can't remember if I've already shown you this and said I'm not showing it to you again or not, because it's been so long since I've recorded. But it was in my bag that I put things when I'm like, this is finished and I need to show people. I need to show it on the podcast. So I'm showing you now. If you haven't seen it yet before, that's why. If you have, forgive me. It is beautiful. I'm gonna, like I said, wash it, put it away, with my hand spun. I did already count that as grams in March, which is why I'm like, maybe I have shown you skeins in March, but I can't remember. All right, so whip time. I have worked on quite a few things. I've started a couple of things. So I'm just gonna jump in and grab them as I have them. This is the first one. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Just caught a stitch on a pin that was on my bag. So I'm just gonna pull that back in a little bit. That's fine. Okay, so this is not a finish. This is my Alpine Bloom tee. This one I started on day 9 of the 12 cast-ons 2025. I still have my little tag there, but I started it on day 9 as a spin to knit. And so I have finished spinning quite a while ago, and I cast on the actual t-shirt September last year, and this is where I'm up to. Now, I had hoped to get this done before the end of June, and I did get a bit distracted by other things, but basically I'd finished the color work and was just into the plain knitting on the body, and I thought, what a great thing to do for polish lessons, and I haven't had as many lessons as I expected. I did, however, finish the ball of yarn that was attached, and before I attached the second one, so I knew how much yarn I had to work with, I wanted to do the sleeves. Both sleeves were on hold. I have picked up one of them and I have knit, I think I've got 1 round left to go. Like, the sleeves are quite short because it is a tee. So I think that's where I started, and I think I've just got 1 round left to go according to pattern. And then what I need to do is cast on the cuff. You can do a rib, but the pattern is designed to have this neck detail on the sleeves as well. And I thought, I'm gonna do that. I'm not doing all of this work and hand spinning to take the easy way out and do a ribbed cuff, but I just have not had the headspace or the time to sit down and cast on a lace cuff. As silly as that is, I just haven't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just kind of put this away for the moment. The tea knit along is finished. I didn't get it done. I don't know when I will pick it out again, but yes, it is just, I've got the 2 cuffs to go, a few rows on this sleeve, grafting them together, and then I can finish the body. So I think next time I get this out to work on it, I should probably finish it. But yeah, I don't know when that will be. I did also, I don't know if you've noticed, but I did grab some Addy unicorn needles to give them a try. I don't mind them. I don't mind Addy, and I don't mind like the unicorn texture. I think I prefer to just have smooth needles, but there are times where the texture, like, it makes it a little bit more grippy or makes it a little bit more interesting maybe, I don't know. So I don't mind them. I do quite like the pink cord, that is fun, but I grabbed a pair in 2.5mm for sock knitting, and then I grabbed a 3.5mm because I knew that I didn't have many of them, and then I was really glad I did, because this one that I have here is also Addy actually. That's a 3.5mm but 60 centimeters, so not long enough to do magic loop, and so I grabbed this in 80 centimeters so I can do magic loop for the sleeves, and I'm getting it done. So that one is Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter. I'm doing, the yarn I'm using is hand spun and Pasquale, which I should have a tag in here for. This is my first time using Pasquale yarn and I love it. It's the Pinta base, which is Merino Silk Ramier blend, and it's color 118. It is beautiful and I quite enjoy the yarn, but yes, I will leave that in here for a while now and I will come back to it later. This is a bag that I made for the Jane Austen advent that we did as a swap last year, out of a panel to make books that I made some bags out of. I have a tutorial linked below if you want to make your own project bags. It's just a step-by-step, tells you everything you need for materials and everything, as well as how to do it. So go check it out. I didn't show you this one. The fox socks I was keeping in this. It outgrew the other bag that it was in. This is an Emma Ball bag that I got as a gift from Ange from Yarn and Yarns when I met her. Thank you, Ange. These are the other yarns I use for that. So Drops Fable, color 110. And this is a hand dyed, which is the same one that I'm using in my sundial tee that I have not worked on. So that is there, and I still have lots and lots of that yarn. So that didn't count as yarn out. The Fable did. Oh, so many things to share with you. All right, this is another pair of Colourwork socks that I have worked on since I last saw you, and I would love to get these done during 12 cast-ons? No, during summer sock camp. And I have a needle that's stuck somewhere. Why are you stuck somewhere? Aha. So these are yarn everywhere. These are the Jingle Jangle socks by Twin Stitches Designs, and I've just started. I want to say started the heel because I've got yarn on hold. Yeah, so I must have just started the heel. This is also 12 cast-ons 2025, and this was day 7. Now, this one I started in the larger size in the pattern, decided that it was going to be too big for me, ripped it back, started in the smaller size. And I have now realized it's going to be too small for me. But I'm going to continue, and I'm going to give them to my son for Christmas because he loves hand knit socks. And I don't know if I'll knit the pattern again, but I'm just going to keep going at this point. I have made mistakes in this, and I have ripped back to fix it because every time I don't rip back, I decide I don't like it and I stop working on it. So I have finished the first leg and I have fixed all the mistakes. So I'd done these lines here in black when it was meant to be navy. So I went back and ripped that, and I've my pattern is black and white because I didn't print it out in color, and so it's been harder to read the chart because it is in black and white. And so I've gone back and I think made notes where things are so that I can tell easier. I do love the design of this. The reason I thought that the large one would be the wrong size for me is because I assumed that the large size was large. Actually, the large size is medium and the small size is small. So the pattern only has small and medium. It doesn't have a large size. And I'm almost always a medium size sock. I also am doing it on 2.25 millimeter circular rather than 2.5, which is what I normally do. And I think if I was doing 2.5 millimeter, it would probably have been fine. But for the 2.25, it's not going to work for me. So like I said, I'll make these into the Christmas socks for my son. Yes, I am enjoying like the different patterning things. It's definitely interesting. These trees were not memorizable, like it was very random and you had to follow the pattern every step, but the rest of it has been short repeats, very easy. Yeah, so I'm onto the heel. I don't remember if I'm planning to follow the heel pattern, the heel in the pattern, or if I'm just inserting my own heel, because I believe that at this point you do the heel flap, the heel turn, and knit for a bit, all in that main color. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that now the heel flap, the heel turn, and the gusset is all in one color. And then once I get to the end of the gusset, I go back into patterning for the rest of the sock. It is designed to be a little bit scrappy looking, and so that's why I think each heel flap, heel turn, gusset for each sock is a different color to add to that scrappy kind of look. So yeah, I'm up to the heel flap and heel turn, and I just put it away because I was busy doing something else. So that will be a quite easy place to pick that up when I come back to it. And I'm pretty sure I'm doing the heel flap and heel turn on 2.5 millimeter needle because that's what I have. I usually do 2.5 millimeter for socks. but I do have some 2.25 millimeters, and so I just mix and match with what I've got when I've got it. Those ones I started on the 2nd of January 2025, and I'm pretty sure the reason that I didn't do a lot of work on it is because I started them after Christmas. Like, I started them in the new year. It was part of 12 cast-ons. It was in my pot, and I was like, oh, this is not what I was thinking, basically. I was over Christmas at that point, and so I didn't work on them for a while. But there are some Christmas in July knit-alongs. Amanda of Little Lycac Yarns, has a podcast, and she's doing a Christmas in July knit-along, and Carla of Carla Knits is doing a Merry Makealong, which is also Christmas in July themed. I believe they are both July and August. So if you are wondering, I'm not doing a Christmas in July Makealong this year. I was considering it, and then I found out that both of these ladies are doing it, and they've both done it for years, and I clearly didn't know this last year. So I'm now just going to join in their one rather than hosting another one at the same time with the same theme. But if you're interested in Christmas in July, go and check them out. Have I just dropped a stitch? I've just dropped a stitch. Okay, all good, not a problem. So yeah, I may work on them for Christmas in July. I didn't tell you anything about the yarn for that one. I'm sorry. We have Lane Yarns Yavol. I cannot tell you the colour for that one. We have, oh actually, can I? Let me see. I don't think many of these were actually scraps. What have I got? Oh yeah, Yavol. I don't know if that's how you say it or not, but there you go. And it is colour 33, I believe, if that's the colour one. We have Fable, which is grey, and I think that one's colour 4. No, wait, oh no, I've got 2 Yavol things here. What? Why do I have 2? Oh no, all right. This one is also Yavol. So one of them is colour 33, like I said, and the other is colour 317, and I cannot tell you which one is which. I apologise. I have 2 Fables. I have the light blue, which I think is colour 117. And then I have the grey, which I believe is colour 4. It's light grey online. I think it's colour 4. I've done that for a blanket as one of, like, as the colour that I held through the whole blanket. And so I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And then I have black. This is Black Bottle Yarn and Fibre Colorway Midnight on their Mallee base. Black Bottle Yarn and Fibre no longer dye their own yarn. The colorways were sold to a shop in Australia, and I'm going to forget the name again, South Australia. I will put it on the screen. All right. So this next one is also Black Bottle Yarn and Fibre. This is the Stringy Bark sock set. This was also part of day 10 of the 12 cast-ons for all of the socks that I started. And this pattern is the Gerst socks, Gerste, Gerst socks, except, what am I doing? I am inserting the pattern for the body of the sock, and I'm doing everything else the way that I normally do it. So I've got my 2x2 rib, 14 rows at the top, I've inserted the pattern, and now I'm doing my normal heel, and then I will continue the pattern on the top of the sock. I chose this pattern because it kind of looks like it echoes the Stringy Bark style. I love the way these look. Most of the knitting of it is actually purling, so it takes a bit of time. And I haven't had it in my easy knitting, but I have just occasionally picked it up when I want something that's a little bit more of a focus knit, because I do have to look the way that I'm doing it. I can't knit on it without looking. but I'm slowly getting there. It hasn't been a focus at all, but I'm onto the heel, so that is exciting. What else to say about that? Doing size medium, same that I always do. It does have some twisted stitches, so it is feeling smaller, but I think it will still stretch and wear normally. I started them also on the 5th of January, so very excited that those ones are coming to completion. They're not completion, but getting some more work. The next pair that I have to show you, I started on the 14th of June, and are also part of that set of socks. In fact, this one has the stitch marker on it. So this is day 10 of the 12 cast-ons. I printed these on my 3D printer, and this is the first sock. I have started the toe, and so I just need to do another few rows and this sock will be done. This is also Hobby Christmas sock without the glitter. Hobby Christmas sock wool, color number 4. Yep, I do like the patterning on this. I think it's really fun. I have my markers here. I count every 10 rows so that I can make sure that my socks match. And so I'm just counting them down the front, and then I will use that for the second side as well. And I'm also using Yevol sock yarn, Lane Yarns Yevol here. However, I do not have the tag for this one because this one came out of scraps, not stash, because I've used it before. And I'm just using that for the heel. This is definitely my easy knitting. I am using the Addy 2.5 unicorns. It's the first sock that I've done with them, and like I said before, I'm not hating it. It's kind of fun, it's kind of interesting, but it's definitely, I'm noticing changing rounds more with them. I think I just have to pull a little bit harder because theirs a little bit tighter. So for me, I like slippery needles. I'm finding it probably not my favorite, but for people who like wood or like a little bit more grip with their needles, I think you would love it. All right. I have 4 more projects to show you that are knitting or crochet. All right, this next one I have done a vlog about, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details, but it is the Gauntlet by, I don't remember who it's by, but project page and everything will be linked below. These are the 2 colors that I'm doing at the moment, and on the vlog I mentioned I was not sure about colors, and a lot of people suggested that I start the second sleeve with the other contrast color that I was debating and see which one I like better. I have not done that yet with the heat wave. I have not touched this at all since the vlog, but I am considering doing that. It would be quite easy to just break off the yarn here, start another one, and then if I like the other color combo better, I can do that. Yeah, so that is Gauntlet. I started it on the, must have been 1st of June because it was the cast off, cast on. Yeah, 1st of June. I'm using knitted and yarn. This is the sleeve. It is bottom up. So you knit both sleeves bottom up, you knit the dress bottom up, and then you join them all together for the yoke and knit the yoke bottom up. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details here because I have a whole vlog where I deep dive into choosing the colors and everything, and I've done nothing else, but I did want to show you that I started it for anyone who maybe hasn't watched the vlog, is not interested in watching the vlog, to let you know that I started a new project. And now that the heat wave has gone, I could pick this up and work on it again. The next one I have to show you is one that I did take with me to Rome, and I got a lot done because I was in a conference. I had a lot of vanilla knitting time, but I did not finish it in time for my daughter's birthday. This is the Hanami dress. It is a pattern by Frogginet Stitches, or Frogginet. It is a beautiful dress. The pattern itself is knit for long sleeves, and I'm knitting it out of a cotton acrylic yarn, so I decided to do short sleeves instead. And so all I did for the sleeves is the last few rows I just knit garter. So knit one way, purled the other way, to just give this little bit of a finish, and that will block flat. And then when I picked up stitches underneath the sleeves, like I just had nothing left. So I didn't pick up and knit a few rounds or anything. I just stopped at the end of the raglan increases. It does have a spot on the back to have a button attached. It's not got a button loop, and so I think, oh yeah, the neckband you go back and I think it's an I-cord applied I-cord, which I think will end up with a loop for the button there, and so it'll have a nice little back opening. But yes, I love how this is knitting up. I think it is absolutely darling. My daughter will love it. She loves soft dresses. I think the texture of this she will be very, very happy with. And she loves my knitted dresses, but I knit her one that was 4-ply merino held with a kid silk mohair. And she loves it, and she still wants to wear it even in the hot weather, but it's just too hot. So I think, yeah, having a cotton acrylic dress will be really nice for her. The yarn itself is in this cake. And so you can see the different colors that I have there. I am on, I don't know where the yarn band is. I'm on the pure purple at the moment, and I've still got another 4 inches to go before there's a picot bind off. Or there's a picot detail. And so I've got another 4 inches before it's long enough for her. At least 4 inches, and then I'll get her to try it on. And so I would definitely get through the purple. I think we've got about 2 inches per color transition. So I'll finish the purple, I'll get into this next color. Is technically a very pale pink, but it reads almost white. Maybe it is more of a white. No, there's a little bit of color in it. Anyway, I'll get into at least one block of purple with a strand of that color, and then I don't know if I'll do the next one or not. I'm just knitting until it's long enough. Her favorite color is pink, and so I've got all of the darker pink in there, and yeah, I am enjoying seeing how this is knitting. So this is my vanilla knitting. I did pull it out the other day a few times. I've been just too tired to do anything. And so I pull this out because I don't have to think at all. But yeah, it is living in this little bag at the moment because the ball fits so perfectly at the bottom, and then the dress sits on top. The yarn there is Kolorowe Zwicki. It's one that I picked up from a yarn show here in Poland, and like I said, 50-50 acrylic cotton. I started it on the 14th of May, and it just takes a while. I think I didn't knit just on that during the conference. The conference was 3.5 days of just full classes, lectures for most of the day, maybe 10 hours a day. And I knit the Christmas socks. I started the new pair of Christmas socks. I think I did the foot of the squirrel socks, of the second squirrel sock. I finished that, and then once I'd finished that, I then picked this one up and worked on that for a few days, and I got maybe 6 inches done, but that was a lot of knitting for each day. So it's still quite a while to go. There's over 200 stitches, I think, if memory serves me correctly, over 200 stitches in the skirt of that dress. So it's still taking a while, but I would like to get it finished while it's still summer. The next one that I have to show you here is a new cast on. This is also going to be part of both the Merry Makealong Carla Knits and the Christmas and July Knit Along hosted by Amanda of Little Lacac. I'm knitting it in Drops Fable, and this is one of the yarn quantities that I bought this year, so excited to be using it almost straight away. Color 122. Drops Fable, I got it during one of the drop sales, so it's already quite an affordable yarn, but I ended up getting it 30 or 40% off again. And I love this color. I would love to have a jumper for myself out of this color, but this one is not for me. This is a gift for my brother. It is the Choose Your Fellowship pattern by Grey Owl Knits. It's actually Choose Your Fellowship 2 because she has two versions. One is designed for basically one's designed for men, one's designed for women. I think she's written broader shoulders, longer torso, that kind of thing. But basically, yeah. So this is what I'm doing. It's a choose your own adventure. Basically, she has provided a whole lot of charts. She's given all of the things about how to choose which charts to fit in where, and then you knit it as you want to. I saw this. I wanted to knit it for my husband. Excuse me, and I knew he would never wear it. And I checked with him and he was like, yeah, I won't wear that. And so I thought, who do I know who loves Lord of the Rings who would love a hand knit jumper? My brother came to mind. So all I've done so far is the ribbing. I did not have the cord for needle size, so instead of 2.75, I've knit the ribbing on 2.5mm needles. I do have a 2.75, but it's on another project and I tried to get it off and it was not going to work. So I left it there. Even with tried on cord, it was not going to work. Got 2.5 and I've done this. And I'm pretty sure that that is now ready for the next step. I have not started the color work clearly. The colors that I have for this are, no, not even mostly Fable. Let's have a look. I have a selection from what I already had in my stash, and they are almost all partly used. So this is the main color. These are the contrast colors that I've got. So I've got some lighter, some darker. This one here is Fable that I bought at the same time as this, thinking of this project. I've since used it in socks. And so altogether for my contrast colors, I don't have enough to make the project work unless I did, like, to do all over color work. I could do yoke and like hem and cuff in color work and then the rest plain, and then I think I would have enough. But I'm gonna see how I go, and if I need to supplement, I can. This was another color that I was like, maybe once I finish I could put it in, but I think I will leave that out and just stick with green and different browns. I do like the mustardy color though in there. So this one I've already said, color 122. This Drops Fable is color 121. And this one is 101. So this is the heels, toes and cuffs from the squirrel socks. I also have Lang Yarns Yavol in color 150. And then I have Cool Wool Performance. So this was the same as the white that I used for the squirrel socks. This is the yarn tag, and this is color 227. And this is the same yarn, but I don't have a tag for it anymore because it's a scrap. Yay for scraps. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Cool Wool Performance, but I will keep using it while I've got it. I bought it for Colorwork socks. So all of this actually, this whole jumper I'm knitting with sock yarn. It is all superwash. It is all 75-25. But yes, it's a fingering weight, I think, jumper. You could make an argument that it's a sport weight jumper. But I'm going to knit it with this and I'm going to make do. And I've started one size larger than I think I absolutely have to do. And that means that if I end up with a smaller gauge, I should still be okay. But I'm also waiting for concrete measurements because I have someone else who is going to be measuring my brother, so I can make sure that I will end up with the right dimensions, because I do want this one to be correct. This is all just sitting in the bag that the drops came in because I bought so much of it for this jumper that they sent it to me in a bag. That's how you know you've bought a lot of yarn, is when they just say, we'll send you the whole bag. But yeah, that is there. My sister yeah, my sister's the one who's going to be measuring my brother. So I'm waiting for that to be able to happen. This next project is not one of my 27 whips, but it is not a new cast on. This is a blanket. And I'm not even entirely sure how to show it because it's going to make a mess, but I'm going to show it because I'm so excited. I have been working on this so much. This is the bag that it was in. It has outgrown this bag. This is a Star Wars bag. The fabric came from Spotlight Australia. It is my own bag tutorial pattern, but it outgrew this bag. So I have put it into this bag, which is just a Kath Kidston tote that I picked up from Tesco in the UK. And so this is a blanket. And like I said, blankets don't count as whips. But I've been working on this a lot. This one I started, I'm going to have to go over to my blanket page because it is a completely different page. I started this the 20th of March 2024. I started it as a different blanket, corner to corner crochet, ended up not liking the way that was working out, ripped it back, bought a new pattern, same place. It wasn't a problem with the pattern that I didn't like it. It was the colors that I'd chosen. Tried to pivot, choose new yarn, didn't work, went back to the original, just took one of the colors out, liked it a lot better. But instead of doing a Pokemon, which is what I had been doing, I also pivoted to doing a baby Groot. So here it is, and this is going to make a mess. So I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to put it down, and then I will figure out the mess later. At the moment, what I've done is I've got it rolled up with all of the yarn bobbins, because it's corner to corner crochet. All right, hoping this is going to work. I just had another interruption, this time not from people in the house, but because my camera stopped working. It was out of battery. Now I've got wind opening and shutting the door. The camera was almost out of battery, so I kept being like, no, I'm not going to record. So I've got everything plugged in, and I'm hoping it will now last until the end. I'm just going to put something in front of that door so it stops opening and shutting. So this blanket, it is going to be a bit of an ordeal to show you because it has all the ends. I have it wrapped up like this. Where am I? With all of the bobbins inside, so that as I'm knitting it, I can just kind of flip it around. Sorry, crocheting it, it's crochet. I can just flip it around and it's not an issue. Yeah, that didn't work. However, let's see if I can show you, and unwrapping this just feels so wrong. Where is the top? Here, oh, now I've kicked the table. Here we go. Yeah, some of them are just gonna unravel. I'm gonna have to get over that. All right. And if they're hanging in front, I'm not gonna be able to get a perfect picture of this anyway. Just bear with me. So this is the top of the blanket. Got a leaf here that I just finished that leaf. And we have baby Groot in a bucket. I am so excited about this. I have finished the bottom and I've started coming up the side. So you can see there is a corner here and there is a corner at the top. I've just started decreasing again. I love it. How cute is baby Groot? So, so cute. This is feeling really big holding it up like this. I lay it out and I was like, it's not actually that big, but I'm very happy with how this is working up. This has been my first corner to corner like graftan project. The pattern I'm using is by 2 Magic Pixels, and I bought the graph because all patterns start with the graph, but then I bought the corner to corner row by row instructions, which is what I'm following. And the graph I'm just using occasionally as reference. All I need to do it really would be the corner to corner crochet instructions, but the way they do it is they sell the graph first and then the instructions are additions. You can't buy the corner to corner row by row instructions without first purchasing the graph. So that's a bit annoying, but I am enjoying it. And they do have like a monthly freebie, and then they have, if you make a purchase, you get a freebie. And so I have a whole lot of patterns from them that I'm never going to use, and some that I'm kind of tempted to use, just because I've purchased a couple of patterns from them. And the pattern that I'm making for my niece will be the same. Purchased from them, corner to corner, graft hand style. And because if you make a purchase every month, you get a freebie for making a purchase, I'm actually, because you have to buy the graph and the corner to corner and the row by row instructions separately, I bought the graph last month and I bought the row by row this month so that I can get the 2 extra patterns rather than the 1 extra pattern, because I figure if I have to buy them both, then I may as well make the most of it. So this is my baby group blanket. I am absolutely loving it. I'm showing you the wrong side. Not that it makes a huge difference, but this here is where I was up to last time I worked on it. And so I have done all of this since I picked it up, I don't know, a month and a half ago. So I have done a lot on baby group. I was still on this arm, so like the entire face that I've done so far, I've just started the second eye, all of that was since I last worked on it. I think actually I was still on the increases, I believe. So I finished the increases, I did the 20 rows at full width, and I've done 5 or 6 rows of the decreases on the other side. So I've done the longest part. I paused it because this here was very complicated, like changing colors every bit and piece and then carrying them across rows. And the pattern is just the graph. There's not tutorial or anything like that. So you have to get how to do this from other tutorials, which there are plenty around, so that's not an issue. But yes, it did take a while to get through this because I found that part more tricky. Now I've got, do 7 blocks, 10 blocks, whatever, and then changing colors. It's not as hard and there's not as many color changes per row. Yeah, so the next one I'm doing, I don't think will be as complicated as this. Like, I don't think any part will be this complicated. The one after that for my other nephew, maybe, and then we'll see what I do for my own kids. But this is what I'm doing. The only change I'm making in this is that I'm doing 3 different colors for the background. So I'm just doing 20 rows per color for the background, and I've just started back to the green. So I'm onto the green background, and then I'll do the blue and then the purple again to finish off. And there was a shadow around the bucket that I'm not doing. I'm just doing it the background color, because doing a shadow in 3 different background colors was going to be much more complicated than just not doing a shadow at all. So I didn't do a shadow at all. I can hear these bobbins dragging everywhere, so I'm going to put that down. Now I'm touching everything else. Okay, I'll deal with that later. I am so enjoying working on that, and I want to start all the graft hand blankets. I'm not starting the next one until that one is done. I did consider with the heat whether I would start the next one, because the corner would be much less to have on your lap, but we're through the worst of the heat wave, and so I picked that out again, and I'm just really enjoying doing a row a night or a row a morning or whatever it is. And I'm sure I will get to the point soon where the rows are short enough that I can get 2 done instead of 1. Anyway, I'm loving it. I had a couple of weeks where that was all I wanted to work on, and I would work on it in the morning as I listened to the Bible. When I wasn't able to spin, my in-laws were here for quite a while. We had a lovely time with them. It was so great showing them around. But it meant that we gave them our bedroom, we moved into the study lounge room, this room, and slept in here, and this is where I spin normally. And so in the mornings for my listening to the Bible time, I moved into the dining room, where there is not a very comfortable seat to sit, but I made myself a place where I could sit and I could crochet in the morning. and listen to the Bible that way. And because my in-laws sleep in a lot more than I do, my husband sleeps in more than I do, my kids are in a different room, and so they would come out and I'd help them out with breakfast and things like that. But just the whole house kind of had this, we need to be quiet so we don't wake everyone up feel. I did a lot more crocheting in the morning than I normally would. And so I did get that done. A lot of that done. Not finished, but I am so excited. And I'm torn because at this point I could get this done by Christmas. But I'm thinking what I'll probably do is save that, see if I can get all 3 of them done by next May, which is a big ask, I know. But if I can get all 3 of them done by next May, then I can give them all to them as birthday presents around the same time. So that's what I'm gonna aim for, but we'll see. I love it. I love Baby Groot. I'm so enjoying this project. And yeah, I did start it 20th of March 2024, so that's over 2 years ago. So it will feel good to get this one finished as well. It won't count towards skeins out, but it will count toward grams out. And that is all of my sewing, crochet, and knitting. I do have cross stitch and spinning, which I will show to you briefly. So spinning, I have this one. I don't think I've shown it to you as a full bobbin. This is a mulberry silk Shetland mix that I picked up from the wool room in Young. In fact, on my Tour de Fleece plan video, I showed a bit of this unspun. So this is 100 grams singles, and I've got another 100 grams that I'm going to also spin long draw, supported long draw, which if you don't know means that I'm not stopping the twist from going into the fibre. I'm drafting the fibre with the twist already in the fibre. I'm doing it supported though, so I do kind of occasionally support it by holding it a little bit further up, not where the twist is, but a bit further up to, you know, give it a bit of a tug so that it can get through a slubby bit or something. Yeah, so I'm doing that for this. It's, I'm pretty sure it's tops. It may be roving, but it really wanted to be long draw, not short forward. So that's what I'm doing. I listened to my fibre, and I've got 100 grams left of this to spin, but I have finished that one. And I finished that just before my in-laws came, and I started this spin, which is a merino nylon spin. So I'm pretty sure it's merino is the white, and then the nylon is little strands of nylon in different colors. And so it's spinning into this very pastel rainbowy, beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm trying to do this as a 3-ply sock yarn because it's got nylon in it, that I can knit my first pair of hand spun socks. I have 100 grams. I'm trying for a 3-ply, not a 4-ply. And hopefully that will get me to a fingering weight yarn. I've only spun a 1/9 of it. So this is almost a 1/3 of one of the plies. But I hadn't included this in my Tour de Fleece plans, and so I broke it where it was and put it to the side this morning so I could start a new spin. The spin that I started this morning, I have already done this much because it is long draw from a bat. It will be a 2-ply, probably worsted weight, looking at that, maybe even a little bit thicker. And you can see there very definite neps and a few slubby bits as well. This is from a bat. I have pulled it apart into 4 of these bumps. This is from a bat by Inner Fleece that I picked up in Tewkesbury. I looked it up, I remember it, it's Inner Fleece. I don't know anything about the yarn type. I'm sure she told me, but yes, I picked it up. She had it 1 bat left on her shop when I saw in the markets in Tewkesbury. And so, yes, I am surprisingly enjoying spinning long draw with the neps in it. I thought I might find it annoying. I found doing short forward with neps quite rough on my fingers. But yeah, this has been really delightful. So I've spun 1 bobbin all this morning I was watching Emily of Wardenburn Knits while I was spinning that. It was listen to the Bible, and when I finished the Bible, I then watched Emily's latest vlog, which was lovely. Hi, Emily. So yeah, that's how much I got done in one morning, which means hopefully I can get that done tomorrow morning and then let these rest and start another spin. I specifically chose smaller quantities for Tour de Fleece so that I could get through and play with a whole bunch of different yarn rather than trying to do one big spin. And yeah, getting through, it was only 25 grams because it was a 50 gram bat, but 25 grams, if I can do another 25 tomorrow, that'll be, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get the kilogram that I pulled spun. I haven't actually done the math on that, but we'll see. The next thing is cross stitching. So I have been doing some cross stitching, and I have a lot of kits, but I also have a lot of patterns and books and magazines and stuff that don't have kits. And I had a whole bunch of, I've got all the different names for things in my head, and floss. I had a whole bunch of floss that I picked up. A lot of it's eBay. Some of it is DMC, but a lot of it I picked up from eBay or something. See, there you go. This one is DMC. I left the tag on that one. But a lot of it is eBay, where you just buy a giant pack or something. And I realized that the colors are actually pretty close to DMC. So this one, it's not exact, but this is the same color number. The one with the knot is the DMC and the other one is the unbranded one. Now, there is a quality difference between DMC and unbranded. I would not call myself a hardcore cross stitcher, and so generally I don't mind using the cheaper floss. That may change at some point in my life. I do notice a difference in quality when I'm using the DMC, but at the moment I have all of these that I've bought for different craft things along the years, and I've decided to just use them. So I 3D printed this card. I've put washi tape on top of it, and I'm just going through, I put all of the pinks in color order, pinks and reds in color order, in number order, sorry, and I'm just going through and putting them on these cards. It does take a little bit of time, but that's why I've only done this much. Once I've done the pinks and reds, I've got purple, green, blue, orange, yellow. I've got the whole shebang. I have probably hundreds of floss things at this point. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing, so that when I want to start a cross stitch, it'll be much easier. I can just pick this up and move it onto a different card set up for that cross stitch. I do have a lot of the little bobbins that you can wind it onto, and I've just found it not very practical when I'm actually doing something. I do tend to work from cards better, so this is what I am doing from now on. So I thought I'd share that with you. I don't know how many cross stitches I'm going to be starting. I really do want to start some more, but for right now, in this little tea tin that I picked up from one of my local shops, I have a cross stitch. This is one that I bought from Burton Yarn Basket, which is in Burton on the Water in the Cotswolds, and it's this beautiful little heraldic rose bookmark. It is a kit. It came with everything that I need, and I'm really enjoying it. It has been, like I said, heat wave, way too hot to work on my crochet blanket. A lot of the time it's been too hot to knit, and so I've actually been doing cross stitch in the evenings instead of knitting. So pretty. There will be back stitching to go on top of this, but I think down to here is completely done. So there is some white in the background of this. I've really enjoyed this. I've been watching a couple of floss tube videos. I've been going down a rabbit hole, and I've learnt just from watching the videos a few different ways to start yarn or finish off yarn and things like that. And so previously I was like holding my tail and knitting over the tail, and now I'm doing like starts and finishes where it's just in one stitch. And so you can see maybe here there's a little bit of red there. That was me finishing off a stitch, and any stitch that I'm starting is automatically covered by the starting square. So yeah, I'm learning new things about cross stitch. This one, it's a quite small one. I chose this because it was achievable to finish in not too long a time. And yes, the heat has definitely helped, but I will be working on this, I'm sure, some more because I've been really enjoying it. The yarn is all pre-cut into not very long strands, and so to pick up a strand and do a strand doesn't take too long. And it also has a little bit of the history of the heraldic rose on the pattern. Yeah, the Tudor rose is a flower emblem of England. The white rose of York and the red rose of Lancaster has symbolised the warring houses of the War of the Roses. And when Henry Tudor became King of England, he used the double rose to symbolise the peaceful union of the two houses under the Tudor dynasty. His granddaughter Queen Elizabeth popularised the use of the Tudor rose on the richly embroidered clothes of herself and her courtiers. In medieval art, a single 5-petalled rose was used to celebrate the Virgin Mary, and the Elizabethans extended this to suggest Elizabeth's chastity as the Virgin Queen. Mary, Queen of Scots, worked many embroideries during her long years as a captive of Elizabeth. There's a surviving panel of her work of lilies, thistles, and Tudor roses, which symbolised her position as Dowager Queen of France, imprisoned Queen of Scotland, and as claimant to the throne of England. This lovely rose evokes one of the most fascinating periods of English history. So I found that interesting. They do sell these at Westminster Abbey, and I had seen them there a couple of times and almost bought one. So when I saw it at Burton Yarn Basket, I thought, yes, I'm going to buy it. I think it was a couple of pounds cheaper there than it was at the Abbey. But we did go into the Abbey both for a tour and to Evensong. And during the tour, I saw the, like a self-guided tour, but I saw the coffins, the memorials, I can't think of the word, but where Queen Elizabeth and where Queen Mary were buried. And I just found it interesting that Queen Mary's son had put on Queen Mary's, like Mary Queen of Scots, grave, tomb, I cannot remember the word, but he'd put the three different, the thistles, the Tudor rose and the lilies, I think it was. He had them all over her tomb to say the same thing as her embroideries had been saying. And so that was a really cool little tie-in between what I'm cross-stitching as a memento from my time in the UK and what I saw while I was there. So just a bit of fun there. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get that done. I am loving bookmarks at the moment, and I'm loving cross-stitch, and I wish I had all the time in the day to craft. And it looks like I do based on this, but my goodness, we've had some busy days in the last month. This is the last thing I wanted to share with you. This is a cross-stitch frame. It is a little bit wobbly, but if I can pull these off now, it is 3D printed. And so all of this I've made myself. The joins, I could glue them together, but they're definitely enough that if I have a piece of cloth on all four sides, it doesn't get very wobbly because it holds itself stable. But yeah, I've got these little things that can clip on to hold the fabric in place. This is, yeah, just something new that I'm trying. I have seen people on FlossTube using frames like this. I looked at buying one and they were quite expensive, and I thought, let's see, someone may have made a file, and they had, so I printed it off. I have used it briefly on a bigger one, very briefly on a bigger one, and I did find it nice. I think the next thing will be to get a frame, something to hold it, because it is quite heavy compared to the little metal frame that I was using. And so if I'm holding it like this, then I can get a cramp in my thumb. If I hold it kind of like this, then it's fine, but I like to have my second hand to help guide at the back. And so, I don't know, I'm wondering if I make a cross-stitch holder or get a cross-stitch holder so that I can just put this down and stitch. And then I wonder how much of a rabbit hole I'm about to go down with cross stitch and adding that to my regular rotation as I have with knitting and crochet and spinning and sewing. And I'm like, I don't have that much time in the day, but I am enjoying cross stitch, and in summer, what a great time to do it. Wow, guys, that was a lot. And I'm just gonna double check that I haven't missed anything that I have written down here. Oh, I did want to just check on the cross stitching pattern keeper. I prefer like paper patterns. I've never used a digital pattern for cross stitch, and so I'm just wondering, pattern keeper, is it worth it? I did download, I know you can get a 1 month free trial. I do have Android, but the only the only tablet that I have is an iPad, and it's an old one, so it's not very well supported anymore. But I have my phone, and so I'm like, is it worth using Pattern Keeper on my phone? I'm not sure. Do you use it? Do you like it? Are you someone who swore by paper patterns and you find Pattern Keeper helpful? Let me know. I'm not sure it would work for a lot of my patterns anyway, because a lot of them are in books and magazines. But if I did start buying patterns, not that I need to, I don't know. Anyway, I downloaded it. I'm kind of interested to try it, but I don't know if downloading it starts the free trial or if I have to do something to start the free trial. And so now I'm nervous that my free trial is started 2 weeks ago and I haven't actually done anything. I don't know. What do you think? Guys, that's everything today. I have no idea how long this episode is at this point. You do, but I don't, because I have had to stop and start so many times with all the disruptions. I really hoped today that I could sit and record and just do one take, no editing. That's not happened. That's all right. I knew there was a lot to go through, and I am so happy to have shared this with you, because I can now put the finished objects away. I can empty out my scrap basket. I have a basket made of scraps. That is where I put all of the things that I work on so that I don't forget to show you something. So I can empty that out, I can put yarn away, I can do all of my scrap management, and I can start with a clean slate for the next episode. I am hoping at this point that I'll be able to go back to my every 2 weeks. It has been an insane month. Yeah, with in-laws visiting, we did a bit more travel. We went out a lot more during the day than we had been, just to show them around Poland. It was lovely. I said we had a trip to Rome for a conference. We had, obviously, people staying in the house, so a little bit less time where I could just kind of sit and record. I just finished helping out with a kids vacation program at church. And so like the last week has just been non-stop. And so I did consider recording this last Sunday, and I even got everything set up to record it, and then I didn't have a chance, so I had to put everything away again. So anyway, I'm really glad to have been able to spend this time with you. I haven't really made making plans for July, to the point that actually I saw Ange of Yarn and Yarn's making plans video come up, and I was like, maybe I should play along with her this month. I've never actually done that, but maybe I should. And then I was like, no, I'm enjoying working on whatever grabs my fancy at the time. I did write a list of things that could count towards one of the Christmas in July Makealongs. And there is a lot between, both Carla and Amanda are like, it can be a pretty, whatever link. Like, I'm making it for a present for Christmas. I'm making it for a present that's around Christmas. I got the yarn for Christmas. It's Christmas yarn. I bought it at a Christmas yarn show. One of them, I'm like, I intended to make this for a Christmas present and it hasn't been made yet, so it has not finished, so I'm going to keep working on it. Does that count? Basically, if it's a Christmas theme in any way, you can count it for, I think, either of those, which is quite fun. So I did make a list of those, and I'm pretty excited to get to them. I will just say again, Sharon McAfee and Amy Has Time, the winners of the Tea Knit Along, please contact me on Ravelry and let me know what pattern you would like, and I will get that sent to you. Because both of you have been participating on Ravelry, I will recognize your names because it will be the same name on Ravelry as on Ravelry. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much. I would love to hear what you've been doing because I have been, unless you've been doing teas and been updating me in the Tea Knit Along, I don't know what you've been working on. I would love to know what you've been working on over the past month, what you've been working on today, if you have been working on something, or if you haven't been doing crafting, whatever else you've been doing today while you've been watching. I'd love to hear it and catch up with you some. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again. Until then, have a great time. Bye.